Buongiorno and welcome to Pasta My Heart. I'm Brenda, and if you're new here, if you would, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Today, we're going to be making some Italian focaccia bread. Easy, we're going to be using yeast instead of a bigger, and we're going to, I'm not sure what we're going to put in it, really, to be honest. I'm not sure if it's just going to be plain or with a little bit of salt on top, or if it's going to be with tomatoes and basil and who knows whatever. But we're going to get the basic focaccia dough done today. What I have done so far is I have 1 cup of lukewarm water. Now, realistically, you want it to be about 110 degrees, and that's what I have in here. I have 1 cup of 110 degree water. I'm going to add to that, this is active yeast, dry active yeast that I have, okay? And we're going to add a teaspoon of this. Now, the reason we're adding our dry active yeast to 110 degree water is so it'll bloom. Anything much hotter than that, you're gonna kill your yeast. And I have found always that if I do this part first and let it sit here for 10 minutes, it'll bloom and it'll be foamy and it'll be ready to be put into our mixture, whether it's flour for breads or sometimes cakes, whatever that is. We're using yeast for rolls. Then it's easier for the for whatever dough we're using to rise. Now I am going to also add a half a teaspoon of honey. I have organic, raw organic honey. Now you can use sugar if you want to. It's a half a teaspoon either way. I choose to use honey because in my mind it's a little bit healthier. So we're going to add a half a teaspoon to this mixture. And I'm just going to kind of give it a little bit of a swirl to get everything going. Kind of mix that honey into the water. And then I'm going to show you what it looks like so far. Now, when I say mix, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be a little combined there. Okay? All right. Here's what it looks like to begin with. Now, we are going to leave this for about 10 minutes to let it do its thing. Okay? All right, so this is going to sit for 10 minutes. Now, while we're waiting on this to finish up, in my mixing bowl, I have already put 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour or bread flour, whichever you prefer. Okay, and then to that, we are going to add a teaspoon of salt, which, you know, to me is kind of a guesstimate. Okay, pinch of salt. All right, we're going to add a tablespoon of olive oil. Okay, we're going to mix this slightly together just to get everything incorporated while we're waiting on our yeast to bloom. I'm using my stand mixer today to do all the heavy lifting. And we're not doing anything but taking the flour and the salt, mixing it together, so that way it's, again, combined while we wait on our yeast to bloom. And that's really all there is to that. It's not a whole lot of anything. Let's give this another 5 minutes or so, and then we're going to be using it. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes. I wanted to show you what this looks like now. Look down in there. Okay, it's a little foamy. That means our yeast is working. We're going to take our yeast mixture. We're going to pour it into our flour. I'm going to take my little spoon here. I'm going to scoop it all in there. I like to get as much in there as I can. I don't want to waste any or leave any behind. Okay, that's good. So we've got that in there now. We're going to add a tablespoon of olive oil. And again, I use organic olive oils. I try to get all the healthy ingredients that I can. All right, so we're going to add a tablespoon of olive oil. And we're going to put this in my stand mixer. Now, if you don't have a stand mixer, that's okay. You can knead this for a good 10 minutes or so. We're going to let my KitchenAid do all the heavy lifting. Now, we've got about 7 to 10 minutes of kneading time in our mixer until our flour, our yeast, all of those ingredients form into a small bowl. It's going to be a little tacky, but that's okay. So I'm going to see y'all in about 10 minutes. Now that our dough has finished, I'm going to take some flour. You don't want to use a whole lot because you don't want your dough, your bread dough to become dried out. So you don't want to do a whole lot in there, but I'm going to rub it on my countertop. I'm going to grab my ball of dough. Isn't that pretty? It smells good. All right, and we're just going to knead it a little bit longer. And the reason I do this is there is something, for me, it goes back to like even making pasta and stuff. It's just a relaxing feeling to have your hands doing something that's so productive. So we're also doing this so we can activate the gluten in it. You want it to stretch. You want it to be good. You want it to be airy. And you can tell it's not dry, but it's definitely not tacky and wet. You can feel the moisture in it, but it's not like it's sticking to everything, right? That's why you don't want a whole lot of flour on your surface, because you don't want the flour to start mixing in and now you've got this big glob of dried out dough from a lot of flour. And if for some reason when you make this, it's a little bit sticky when you get it out of the bowl, because you still need, even if you knead it the whole time, you still want to, in a mixer, you still want to be able to knead it by hand just a little bit, okay? So in doing that, if it's ever a little bit like really sticky and they're sticking to your fingers or whatever, if you will just take a little bit of water on your fingers, that'll help it from sticking to you instead of constantly dousing flour, right? Okay, we've got this, this is what I call the upper arm workout. The next thing we're going to do is get a bowl, get a bowl that's like twice the size of your bread dough, because we're going to let it rise for about an hour. Now, if you will do this, an easy thing to do, especially if it's winter time, or even like now we've got our air conditioner going, to keep it in a warm place. If you don't have a bread proofing bag or area or whatever that looks like, then you want to, like me, if you take it and stick it in your oven and just turn the light on, nothing else, just turn the light on, it'll stay warm enough to make this do its magic. All right, I'm going to bring my bowl over here. So, see, look, and it bounces right back. Okay, so we are going to take my bowl. I'm going to take a little bit of olive oil, and I'm going to just enough to kind of rub the bottom, rub the sides, just a dribble. I'm going to coat my bowl just so nothing sticks. I don't, it never has, but I like to do this also because it helps that dough as it's rising to not get pooled, you know, in the bowl. And so I just take a little bit and rub it around. That looks good to me. Just enough to kind of put a light little coat on there. Needless to say, I'm going to rub it on my hands. So growing up, olive oil was the cure-all in our household. You get a boo-boo, you put olive oil on it, you have a scar. You know, if you had to get stitches or you had surgery, you put olive oil on it to keep it from being a big old honking scar. Those of you that, you know, you're pregnant and you're worried about stretch marks, you use olive oil to massage around your belly to keep from having stretch marks down your thighs and stuff. You know, it's the versatile thing when you live in an Italian family, because it's not just for cooking. All right, let's go. I'm going to place my dough in here. I'm going to get some plastic wrap and cover it. I have a love-hate relationship with plastic wrap. I don't know about y'all, but I do. Okay. Thus my love-hate relationship. All right. We're going to cover it loosely. And I'm going to go stick this in my oven with the light on. Now this needs to rise till it doubles in size, or about an hour-ish, maybe an hour and a half. This is a forgiving dough, so if you go a little bit longer, it's fine. And I will see you as soon as this rises, and then we'll be ready to spread it out, top it with some stuff, and throw it in the oven. Welcome back. We have had this rise now. It's been right at an hour. So let me put a little flour out here because we're going to punch it down a little bit. And again, you don't want to use a whole lot of flour. You don't want your dough to be sopping up the flour and getting dried out. So you can see we've doubled a little bit for sure. It wants to flop out of there. All right, and we're going to set that there. Beautiful. Let me bring this down a little bit. One day I'll be able to get all these angles correct, right? Okay, so we're gonna punch this down. I'm gonna stretch it out a little bit. I'm gonna roll it up. And then I've got a 12-inch cast iron pan. Love my cast iron pans. I've already taken some olive oil. I've already re-wiped it so it'll be nice and fresh and greasy. I'm going to take our dough. We're going to flop it down in there and we're going to spread it out. We're going to spread it out as much as we can do. The whole point is to get it all the way out into the base of our 12-inch pan. Now, when I'm spreading dough like this, I just because it's easier for me, I use the backs of my fingers because I can push and it won't tear it. It's not like you're pressing real hard with your fingertips. For me, it works. Some people like to use their fingertips. I'm not saying I don't use them. I just say when I'm really trying to stretch it out initially, I like to use the back of my fingers. Okay, let me show you what this looks like. So we've spread it out. I got a little place right there that just doesn't want to cooperate with me. All right, so I've got it spread out. And now we've got to let it rest a little bit longer. So this time though, I'm going to just take one of my towels. We're going to cover it and we're going to leave it alone. It needs to rest for about 30 minutes, anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes. And then we're going to come back and we're going to finish it off and pop it in the oven. So we're almost finished. Can't wait to taste it. Okay, so 30 minutes and we'll be back. We are back and it's been about 20 minutes. And so we are going to uncover this. I'm going to let you see that it has risen a little more and see it filled in where I had spread it out. And so now comes the easy part. We're going to take our fingers and I'm going to take some olive oil over here. I want to get my salt over here. And I am going to gently, with my fingers, press all the way into my dough. And just make little divots everywhere. You don't want to press because you want it to not get rid of all the little air bubbles. Let me show you what it looks like. You see how I've got just little nooks and crannies, okay? Now we're going to take our olive oil. I'm going to just drizzle some. I'm going to drizzle the olive oil on here. I'm also going to take my hand and just kind of lightly spread it across the top. That way our dough has just got full of goodness in it. All my little nooks and crannies, they're filling up with a little bit of olive oil. Let's pour it with this hand. I'm going to put just a tad more and spread it out. There we go. Okay. And you don't want to be mashing down on it. You want it to stay nice and bubbly. Make sure I get the edges of it. There we go. Can you see? Doesn't that look good? All right, the next part is the fun part. It's going to make your house smell really good. We're going to take our pan. We are going to place it in an oven that I have preheated at 400 degrees. And we're going to bake it until it's golden brown. It's going to take about 15-20 minutes. We'll check it in my skillet. But you're just going to place it in that oven, set the timer for 15 minutes, and let's check it. And then when this is done, we'll be back and we'll give it a taste. Okay, I went and got our focaccia out of the oven. I'm going to show it to you. It smells so good. Now, this is just such a great bread. Look at that. This is such a great bread. And the reason it's a great bread is You can do so many things with it. Now this one is just regular, not anything added to it. It's a piece of bread, right? But you can dress it up any way you want to. It can be the base of a great pizza. It can be the base of a dessert. It can be just a good loaf of savory bread with, if you added rosemary or maybe even some garlic and basil. You can dress it up, dress it down, either way, but it's just a great little crispy bread. I'm going to cut into it. I know I should probably let it cool a little bit, but I want to taste it. So let's see what this tastes like. I won't take a big piece. I'll just take a little piece. I love cooking in cast iron, by the way. We'll be doing a lot of that. Look at this. It's crispy, and yet it's still soft and chewy. Okay, here we go. Going in for it. Between bread and pasta, they are both my downfall. Wow, this is so good. This is what we're going to be eating tonight with our dinner. I hope you will at least give this a try. It doesn't take that long. It's not a hard bread to make. I'll make sure I put all of the ingredients and directions down below. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. You have a blessed day.